I am in need of chainmail. My next project, a Snail Knight, is going to be wearing quite a bit of chainmail, and I thought to myself, well, I can either do this the hard way and actually make chainmail across his entire body like this, or I could take the easy way out and create a material in Substance Painter that I can use instead. So what I need is a repeating pattern of interlocking rings. And the easiest way I could think to make that would be to start in Maya and bring it into Substance Painter. So I'm going to begin with some toruses. Look at this from the top. Now I know what I want, but trying to get this to work the first time can take a bit of fiddling, which is why I did a bunch of testing beforehand to make sure I get what I was looking for. I think I need this a bit more like that. There we go. Could duplicate that with Control D, X, Control D. Guess I missed it. X. Bring that up. And I want these Control D snapped so I can keep them at an even distance from each other. I duplicate all three of them. Control D, X, grab this, pull that to the left. Control D, X, grab that and pull that to the right. Now I need the links that go in between them. Control D again. Put one here. Control D, X, Control D, X, there. Now at the moment they're not interlinking, they're just crossing through each other. So I'm going to select these ones here, rotate, and if I hold down J, I can rotate these in 15-degree increments because I only need to rotate a little bit in that direction. Then shift drag over everything to swap my selection. J, I'm going to rotate the opposite direction, there. And now they give the interlocking look. And you can see that they are actually crossing through each other a little bit. But you know what? You can't see that from the top. And this is the view that I'm going to be using that's going to be baked onto my low poly version of this mesh. So I need a low poly and a high poly. This is my high poly. And this is going to be my low poly. I just need to scale this up so it goes from corner to corner of these. So I guess center to center of these. So that's going to be 12, like that. And I'm just going to freeze transformations on everything. All right. Now, I could just bring this straight into Substance Painter like this, but I want to be able to make each chain link, each one of these little loops right here, slightly different from the others, just to make them stand out a bit more. So if I were to grab this one and go to Mesh Display, Apply Color, option box, I can apply color to this, any color I want. I'll start with red. Now this one is red. That was yellow, green, cyan, and blue. I also want all the corners to be the same color because this is going to become a repeating pattern. And if it's going to be a repeating pattern, then these four links have to be the same link. They have to match up. So I'll make all these the same one, make them all magenta. And the top and bottom also has to match up. So I'll make that, it doesn't matter what color I make it really. I'll make it white for now. And this one, I'll make that black. There. So when this loops from left to right, this will be the same one. This will be the same one. This will be the same one. Top to bottom, this will be the same one. These will be the same ones. They should match up just fine. Next, I'm going to combine these together. Mesh, combine, with just the rings. And this will be the low poly, high poly. I'm going to export selection. I'm going to export this as FBX. That way I can be sure it's going to have the vertex colors on them. I'm going to put these in my data folder. Make that a little easier to read there. And select this one, low. And that's all I need to do in Maya. Now I can go to Substance Painter. Make a new, select. I don't know how the heck I spelled high like that. There. I'll use my low for this. So this is going to be the base that will bake everything onto. Now it's fairly boring, not much to look at. Texture set settings. We have opacity in this, yes, yes. Bake mesh maps, click on this. And I'm going to be baking a high poly, so I'm going to have to go in here, find my, there it is, click there, chainmail high. Don't worry about the color right now, that doesn't matter. Max frontal distance and rear distance, that controls how far this will go above and then below to look for these shapes. And as you can see, my max frontal distance is not encompassing these shapes. So I need to expand this forward until this is within that space. It does not show my rear distance, but that's okay. I just do the same amount. Not too much. I don't need to go crazy. It's going to spend forever looking for the details otherwise. But too little, and it's going to skip the tops of these, and it's going to be clipped off the top. I also want to change my output size because I'm going to be using this later on. I'm going to go ahead and set that to 4K. And for my normal map, world space, ID, there it is. ID, I'm going to set this to vertex color. So it's going to use the vertex colors on the original model. They're not showing up here, but they are in the data. Trust me. I also want to turn on my opacity because I'm going to need that in order to create the gaps between them. And then bake select the textures. And let's watch and see what happens. Look at that. There we go. Return to painting mode. And now this has the appearance of the chain links. And if I were to go to my material right here and scroll down for my mesh maps, I can see what my normal map looks like. My world space normal. My ID, that's the one that has the colors. So now I can split these up into different colors and apply different materials to each link if I wanted to. At the very least, I can make each link look slightly different than all the other links. Ambient occlusion, curvature, it basically just creates these little creases in between them at least. So I can use that to make the creases show up a little bit better later on if I want to. Position, not really got anything going on there. Thickness, height was not baked, but I do have opacity. There we go. Now I'll create the holes in between them. Now I need to export these maps because if I just move forward from here, they will be treated as the mesh maps rather than part of the material itself. And I want to be able to open this up in anything else and carry these maps in with it. So I'm going to export these maps, export textures, click on here, Snail Knight. I'm going to put these in my assets. I'm not going to use PBR metallic roughness. I'm going to use mesh maps. That is going to export those mesh maps. If I click on this, I can see which ones are going to be exported. Base, bent normals. I don't think I need bent normals. I haven't used those. Those aren't actually doing anything. Opacity, yes. Height doesn't have anything. Thickness, yes. Well, might as well export the position just in case, but I don't think that's going to do anything. Curvature, ambient occlusion, ID, world space normals, and normals. And there we go. And now those should exist in my assets folder. And now, just to make sure I know that they're working, I can make a new one. Select the low poly one again. Discard all that. And let me re-import these maps. Grab them, drag them in here. I'll select all these, and the optional prefix, I'm going to call this Chainmail. And these are all textures. Import. There we go. And this way, if I need to find them in my textures, I can just search Chainmail, and there they are. Now I'm going to get rid of that, clear that, and I'm going to start with some kind of material. Let's just see here. Need some kind of metal for these. Iron, forged old, iron old. I kind of prefer the forged for the time being, so I'll drag that into my layers. And as you can see, they're not doing anything with the map size added because they're not in my texture set. I don't want them in my texture set. I want them in these maps right here. So if I look in here, I can see if any of these are using maps. Let me see here. Mask builder. There we go. That usually uses maps. There you go. So I need to give this world space, position, curvature, and ambient occlusion. Is the world space right there? Yes. Position, curvature, and ambient occlusion. And you can see it is doing something now, but it's kind of hard to tell what exactly. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to make a new fill. And the fill does not need color, height, roughness, metalness, or emission. Instead, I'm going to give it my opacity for the opacity and normal for the normal. Yep. And I can see it is using that. Now, let's say I wanted these to be slightly different. I want this one to only be using that, the center one right here, for instance. So let's see here. Add mask with color selection. But you can see I'm not using any color selection at the moment. This ID mask, ID not found. Drag that into the ID mask, and now it's going to use this one. Pick color, select that one right there, and now it only shows up on the center one. So we're going to duplicate this, duplicate layer. I'm going to select here, I'm going to remove that one. I'm going to select a different one, like say the white one right here. That's going to do the top and bottom now. And if I wanted to make this slightly different in some way, like make this one a slightly different color, I'm going to find my base right there, find the base color. That really showing up? Not really. Let me find something else in there that might give a better result. There we go. Now you can see it's having an effect on the color. Or maybe I want to change how much dirt is on this. Just double check the edges right here. Is this basing on anything? Ah, there he goes. This does not have anything in. That's why it's not doing anything properly. We get rid of this one. Go back to this one. From edges, branch map, middle edge where, world space, position, curvature, ambient. Normally this would be automatically done, but because I'm using these custom maps instead of the texture set right here, instead of the baked mesh maps, I have to add them in myself. Surface details. Don't think those ones use it. Nope. Alright, so now if I duplicate this one, Control D, color selection, delete that, put that on the white one again. Open this up. See what happens if I change my base color. You can see how that happened right there. See that? That got darker. And I can adjust where the dirt goes if I want. Maybe I can adjust the level on this one. That looks slightly different from that one. Maybe I'll make this a bit lighter than the others. Do whatever I like to make these each slightly different. Or if I decide that's enough, I can always just, tell it to go back to this one and tell this one to use the magenta as well. Doesn't really matter. There's not going to be a big enough difference to notice, but I wanted to have the option. This one's really rusty. I fiddle with that a little bit. Not really showing up. Let me try this. Maybe this one's a bit cleaner. You never know. I'm getting a little bit bored doing each and every one of these. There. No. That makes it too repetitive. One thing I don't want is to look too repetitive. So I'm going to duplicate that one again. And what can I do to make this one different? There. Now they're all a little bit different, except for a couple of them. But they're different enough. And above everything, I'm going to turn this off. So this is just, oh, I guess we already had one. There we go. Use that one. Oh, I was using that one, no wonder. But above that one. There we go. Throw a filter on this, and I want this to have pass through. And on the filter, I want my transform. Working on some of them, not all of them. Oh, I know. I gotta do this on everything. Metallic, pass through, normal, pass through, opacity, pass through. I'm not gonna worry about emission because I don't have any emission on this. Now this should. Look at that. And so with just one control, I can scale the entire thing and make it loop as many times as I like. We put all this into a group, add group, select everything. That's not doing anything, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. I'm gonna name this Chainmail. Create smart material. And there's my chainmail. And export this. I think I'll put this in my assets. And now I've got chainmail SPM. I'm going to save this just in case, so I don't have to do all that again. Find my Snail Knight. I think I'll put this one in data. There you go. So I'm going to open a sample. I'll use the meat mat. And I want to make sure this is using opacity. Otherwise, this is not going to do anything when I use it. Now, if I throw my chainmail onto him, I can just barely see through it, but it's not doing a very good job of it. Ah, that's why. Texture set settings. I want to add opacity to this. So click the plus sign, opacity. Now you can see through it. There we go. And you can see as long as I got opacity set up on my model, it'll work. So I just import this whenever I want. If I don't have it here, like say if I delete this and delete that there, all I have to do is go back to my assets, drag this in as a smart material. There we go. Drag it on. And there it is again. Open it up, go to my transform, adjust my scale until I like how it looks. And now I've got a pre-made chainmail material that I can use on whatever project I want in the future. All right. That's it for today.